Hi everyone, Mr. Schofield here again. This week I am doing the Year 5-6 video, and I'm going to be going through the English task, the setting description, talking about how I would approach that and sharing a good example with you. Then I will also be sharing some shout outs of some people who've been doing some amazing work, and then finally I'm going to be reading you the next chapter of the book of the House of Chicken Eggs. So here we go. Okay, so this is our writing task. It's a setting description based on a video called Before Sunrise. The video is brilliant and it has its own story, however we're really focusing on that setting description. The YouTube link's on the screen, but I'll also put in a bit of the video into this video so you can see what I'm talking about. So on the Year 5-6 PowerPoint we set out how we would go about planning this, and we've split into two sections, the darkness of the village and the library. You have to remember that in a setting description you need to use your five senses. It's not about telling the story and saying this happened and this happened and this happened. It's about describing to the reader what the place is like so that we get a real feel for it when we're reading it. The adjectives that I've gone for here really focus on the creepy vibes coming from the village and how deserted and mysterious it is. And the similes I've gone for are: the brisk wind whipped around the town, howling like a lonely wolf. The stars above the rooftops glittered like diamonds, and the silver moon sparkled like a polished coin. In the second part of the video, the focus switches from the creepy village to this bright library. So I've gone for adjectives surrounding quietness, and my similes are: the library was as quiet as the bottom of the ocean, the man softly snorted like a purring cat, and the library was warm and welcoming like an old friend. Here we've pulled out the picture of this statue, and I've just kind of written down a couple of words that come to my mind when I look at it. So I've got creepy, ominous, it's central, it's in the middle of the village, and it's to be respected. It wouldn't be there for no reason, so maybe that's something you could explore in your description. Another thing that really stands out in this video is how amazing the sky is and how that big bright moon kind of pulls your focus to it. So when you're writing, I definitely go into the moon and the stars and the wispy clouds and kind of talk a little bit about this as well. Coming up next, I've included the video. I've taken the two main parts, the bit at the start when we're looking at the village and the bit at the end where we're looking in the library. Just take some time to kind of figure out what you want to write about. Red is adjectives. We've got some adjectives here that you can use in your own writing. There's dark, secretive, unsuspecting, mysterious, magical, unlighted, unilluminated, dim, mystic, ghostly, misty, eerie, isolated, all about how dark this village is. Next up we've got some similes as well. So the moon was as pale as a face, the moon is like a spotlight, the moon is like a golf ball hit high into the night sky, the sky is as black as coal and a blanket of fog covered the village. And then finally again here we're delving into our senses, and this is a sense of sound. So we've got silence, the sound of broken glass, mischievous giggles, shrieks of terror and the howling of the wind. You can use things from this slide or you can change them and make them your own, put your own stamp on it, but we just want to build up that sense of giving the reader what it's like to actually be in that village at the start of this video. In the second part of the video, the tone really changes, and yes, our main character has his love interest, but the backdrop changes as well, and the library is so much brighter, so much warmer than outside in the village, and you're going to have to convey that in your writing. So here again, we've included some adjectives, some similes for you to use, and some sounds as well, and also some fronted adverbials to start your sentences in interesting ways. I just wanted to share with you as well a really good example that Juliet wrote in school when she was doing this on Monday and Tuesday. It's fantastic, and just listen to the way that she has described the setting. Before sunrise, the town was a dark, dreary place. There were shadows and darkness around every corner, lurking in the gloom, because with every light put out came a new shadow. The shadows seemed almost alive as they danced through the darkness with graceful gloom. They would often take the form of terrible beasts, in the hope that no one would get rid of them by turning a light on, though this rarely works. The shadows were rather unfortunate souls, for they were only safe before sunrise. Then, of course, there was the building. On the outside it was just like the others, but on the inside it was far from that. The shadows would enter and leave in a daze, for anyone who entered would be surrounded by 6 feet stacks of books. The books cast thousands of shadows across the room. They came in all shapes and sizes, thick and thin, new and shabby. The moon shines down, casting a murky silver light over the sleeping city. The clouds gently mask its light like curtains of darkness. It's never long before the moon escapes the clouds and takes refuge behind the silhouettes of the city. But the town is only like this before sunrise. Wasn't that incredible from Juliet? So I just thought I'd feature that before we go on to the next part of the video, which is the shout-outs. So thank you to everyone who's been sending in all of your amazing work. We love looking at it, and the teachers love pouring through it and giving you feedback. So keep it up, and here is the slides showing everybody's work that they've been doing. sending in their work. It's been brilliant, so keep it up. Right, the last thing I'm going to do in the video today, I'm going to read the next chapter in The House with Chicken Legs. When I return to my room hours later, Nina looks fainter, more nebulous, her edges floating into the air like steam. Baba's words from earlier run through my mind. They would be lost forever. But I push them away and lead Nina outside to play while Baba and the house sleep. We spin cartwheels in the sand and squander water building sandcastles. Maybe the dwindling supplies in the book will encourage the house to move on to somewhere where it rains, like the coast. If the house were to move near the ocean, maybe Nina would be so happy that she would forget about her past. When she talks about her family, she gets sad and wants to go home. She doesn't realise she can't. She doesn't realise she's dead. There's an unsettling ache in my stomach. As much as I'm trying to distract Nina from her memories, I'm trying to distract myself from the thought that at some point I should probably tell her the truth. But then I'll lose her. Is it so bad to want to have a friend for more than one night? I keep leading our conversations back to the present or the future. We talk about the things we want to do when we grow up. She wants to be a farmer, like her father, growing food and flowers in the desert, filling dry and empty sand with life. She says if you plant the right seeds, you can cultivate not only plants, but soil, water, insects, birds and animals. She says you can create whole words by planting tiny seeds and nurturing what grows. She asks me what I want to be. I don't tell her I'm destined to be the next Guardian. I imagine that my future is undecided, that I could be an artist like Benjamin, or a teacher, or an actress in a theatre. I think of all the jobs I've read about in books that involve working with the living, enjoying life, and my heart swells. Then I imagine that I could live in a normal house, a house without legs, and stay in one place, and make friends. When the sun rises high overhead, the house begins to stir. Its front door yawns lazily, and its legs stretch out over the hot sand. We retreat to the shade and privacy of the back porch and feed Benji, while throwing scraps of food up into the air for Jack to catch until he tires of us and hides on the roof in the shadow of the chimney. I tell Baba I'm reading the Book of Yaga, the crumbly old guidebook for Yaga, so she starts cooking without me, and Nina shows me bustards flying on the horizon in the late afternoon. Her eyes light up as she remembers chameleons and cobras she found in her garden, and how her father once showed her the burrow of a desert fox, and I have to distract her again before she gets homesick. I talk about the crashing waves of the ocean and giant whales that breach the surface after a storm. Dusk comes all too soon, and I sneak Nina back into my room through the window and leave to light the skulls. I feel heavy. I tell myself it's tiredness, but I know in my heart that it's something far deeper, something to do with Nina and not telling her the truth. The first of the dead to arrive looks so much like Nina I panic, thinking she's left my room to find the gate. But the girl is a few years older. She has the same long dark hair and shining copper eyes, the same look of confusion, like she's lost and her memories are just out of reach. Baba wraps a shawl around her, ushers her to the table and pours her a drink of kvass. "You're dead, my child," Baba says brightly. I turn to her in surprise because I understood her perfectly, even though she's speaking in the language of the dead. "You're here to celebrate your life and move on with joy. You're about to leave this earth and embark on a long journey to return to your place in the stars." The girl stares at Baba and catches her infectious smile. "I'm dead," she repeats uncertainly. "Yes, your time on earth is over and you're here to prepare for the death journey. It will be both challenging and wonderful, but before you go, we can celebrate your life and memories. Would you like some borscht?" "Marinka, could you get some borscht for our guest, please? What is your name, child?" "Serena. I was ill." Her eyes narrow as she tries to remember. "Like my mother and my sisters." I drop the ladle into the cauldron. She sounds just like Nina. "How many sisters did you have?" Baba asks. "5, thank you." Serena takes the bowl from me and sniffs the steaming red liquid. "We lived on the edge of the desert. My father planted oleanders all around the house." It is Nina's sister. It has to be. I glance over to my bedroom door. The handle turns slowly and a crack widens between the door and the frame. I rush over and squeeze myself inside, pushing Nina back. She looks at me, wide-eyed and curious. "I thought I heard my sister." "No," I shake my head vigorously. "They're my grandmother's friends. You have to stay in here." "But it sounds like her." She leans around me, like an invisible string is pulling her to the door. "It's not!" I snap, then take a deep breath and try to speak calmly. Please stay in here, Nina. Watch Jack for me, I add as I notice him pacing along the footboard of the bed. I'll bring you some scraps to feed him in a little while. Nina nods reluctantly, her gaze still drawn to the door. Promise, I press. It's important. Nina looks at me and sighs. I promise. I shut the door and rush straight over to Baba, practically dragging her away from the dead woman she's now talking to. I want to guide Serena through the gate, I whisper urgently. Baba looks at me in surprise. That's wonderful, but the gate isn't even open yet. I look past the gathering dead to the corner of the room where the gate always appears and stifle a groan. If you really want to help, the first stage is to listen. Baba nods over to where Serena sits, daintily nibbling some chak-chak. Let her tell you her memories and relive her time on Earth. She'll only be ready to move on once she's identified what she's gained from this life and said her goodbyes. My eyebrows fall. Why does guiding have to be so complicated? Why can't I just say the death journey words and send her on her way? Go on, Baba nudges me towards Serena. It's easy. Ask her about her life and listen to her. Really listen. I walk slowly over to Serena. Hello, I smile uncomfortably. I'm Marinka. I'm Serena, she smiles back, looking so much like Nina I feel like I know her already. So, I try to think of what to ask, hoping this won't take long. I want Serena to go through the gate as quickly as possible so Nina doesn't hear her and come looking for her. You live near the desert? Yes, Serena starts talking and the strangest thing happens. She tells me about her house and her family, all the things I've learned from Nina. But as she does so, my house and the dead crowded around the table and the fire all fade away until I can barely see them. It's like part of me is literally transported into Serena's garden. I feel earth beneath my feet, smell flowers as if they're right under my nose, and hear the rustle and chirp of birds hiding in the leaves. Then I feel her emotions. My heart races as she chases swallowtails and bursts with joy when her sisters are born. I have to clench my teeth to stop from crying out when I feel her mother die. I wonder if this is what Baba meant when she said the dead's lives would add to mine. If it is, I don't like it. It's frightening, having someone else's memories and feelings inside my head. It's time. Baba touches my arm and the house swings back into focus. The gate is open, everything in the room bending towards it. Far away, almost imperceptible in the darkness, galaxies swirl and nebulae erupt with colour. What do you take with you to the stars? Baba asks Serena. The love of my family and home, she replies without question, and it makes such perfect sense that I clap my hands together. That's what I feel too. That's what the lasting impression of her life is. Baba kisses Serena on both cheeks and nods to me. I know what I have to do. I lead Serena to the gate, the death journey words flowing from my mouth without hesitation. May you have strength on the long and arduous journey ahead. The stars are calling for you. Move on with gratitude for your time on earth, every moment now and eternity. You carry with you memories of infinite value, the love of your family and home. Serena steps into the gate and drifts away into the darkness. Peace at returning to the stars. The great cycle is now complete. Clouds roll above me and an ocean washes far below. Rainbows flash across the glassy mountains. I feel like I recognise this place, like I've been here before. It's a memory so tangible, yet just so out of reach. I lean into the gate, thinking it will help me remember, but Baba yanks me back with so much force my shoulder joint pops. You must never cross the threshold. Baba's wrinkles fall into a deep frown. You must never step into the gate. An icy shiver runs along my bones. I've never seen Baba look so stern, and I prickle with the hesitation that I brushed against some great disaster and only just survived. But I don't understand the danger, or Baba's reaction, or the strange feeling I had when I leaned into the gate. Okay, that's it. Thank you for watching, everyone, and make sure you keep safe. Bye-bye.